Hello and welcome back to Folklore 5, where I tell you a piece of folklore in 5 minutes or less. This one is for Josh, who requested on my last video about some Celtic folklore. So today we're talking about Cornish Pixies. These are probably known as Piskies, but for the sake of easiness, I'm going to call them Pixies, because the words are used pretty interchangeably. These are mythical, mischievous little creatures in Cornish folklore. These were brought to major attention in the Harry Potter franchise, but it is argued that their depiction there is pretty inaccurate. So just like some of the other stuff we've talked about, they are mischievous, but they're not necessarily evil or harmful. It just depends on their treatment. They're mostly found on Cornish moorlands, particularly near historical sites like stone circles or dolmens. They are small, childlike, and have no wings and really wrinkly little faces. They can fly, teleport, and become invisible at will. They love meddling with people because they're super interested in human affairs, so they just want to stick their little noses in it. Their queen is said to be called Joan of the Wad, which also means Joan of the Torch or Light. She has both good and evil traits, and similarly to wisps, she's said to lead people in directions with her light. And that's not a standalone thing. Pixies love leading people in weird directions, particularly in circles. They find it particularly funny to get people lost. So the term pixie-lead or pixie-lead refers to someone who is whimsical or lost in thought. I've always been a big daydreamer and my mum would always say I was off with the fairies, so it's a similar concept to that. They love taking little things, so things go missing, it's probably the pixies. They're not always mischievous. Sometimes if you leave little cream or bread out for them, they might do your chores for you while you're asleep. That reminds me of the little shoemaker story, if you've heard of that one. So how to interact with Cornish Pixies. You have to be polite, respectful, and ultimately accept that they're going to be tricksters. You should leave them gifts like little sweet treats on your doorstep. This could also include bread, salt, water, anything that's a little gift. Avoid being greedy or cruel, because greed and cruelty are something they really hate, and you're way more likely to be interfered with by the pixies if you're a greedy, cruel person. You should absolutely not acknowledge their tricks, because if you get annoyed and acknowledge what they're doing, it'll encourage them and they'll want to do it more. You should keep pesky charms on you to attract luck and keep them on your side. And also, the most effective way to stop yourself from walking in circles, getting lost, or being pixie-led is to wear your coat inside out, because it will break the spell. So now I'm going to tell you two stories of interactions people have had with pixies. This first one is called The Sparkling Cave. So this story originates from a place near Truro. A boy left his home in St. Allan to go collect wildflowers. He followed a bird into the forest, and then suddenly everything got dark. He thought night had fallen. Thinking it was night, he saw these lights around him, like stars. He soon realized they were moving. They were actually pixies. So he followed them as they led him into a cave piled with sparkling treasures. While he was in that cave, the pixies fed him honey, which put him into a deep sleep. He woke up back where he started, in the valley. Soon he was found by the villagers. They were stressing out. They said he had been gone for 3 days, but he didn't remember being gone for that long at all. The next one is called The Banished Bells. So I'm sorry, this is not quite Cornwall. This one actually comes from one of their neighbours, Devon. I'm sorry. So this is Ottery St. Mary, 14th century. A new church was being built, and the local pixies objected to this. They did not want this to happen, so they were interfering in all of the building projects, like moving tools and building supplies around, so that things were made a lot more difficult. They got particularly mad when they found out the church would actually have a bell tower. Pixies do not like bells. They're not a fan at all, and so this really tipped them over the edge, and they objected more strongly than ever. So some of the monks were bringing the bells as cargo towards the church, and on their way they became pixie-led and started walking towards a cliff instead of towards the church. As they were almost there, ready to drag the bells off the cliff, one of the monks stepped on a thistle. Instinctively the monk blessed himself, which broke the pixies' spell. They were able to get the bells to the church, and ultimately the pixies had to retreat. They now live about a mile south in a cave cliff next to the River Otter. Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed those quick facts. Have you ever encountered a pixie? Or maybe is there any folklore you'd like to hear me talk about next? Let me know in the comments.